Right, I don't want to name and shame any brand particularly because we're all different and that's something that makes us uniquely built in certain aspects, yes?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to rub out the brand on there. But my topic is about antiperspirant in itself. It's dangerous, okay? So to certain people, okay? I'm going to have to say it that way. So for me, I keep getting a pinched nerve, yes? Or what I thought was a pinched nerve. Runs down the neck, under the arm, and down towards my hand, and also down here and across the front here. I feel it here too, around where my nipple is, and just under my nipple. Now, what happens with that is it continues to a point where when I lay down, it's really hard to explain it, but I can feel my heart knocking on something hard, and it feels like my heart is something is pressurizing the heart. Well, we know that nerves respond. The heart is responding to a nerve.
Yeah.
Yes? It's always on my left side. Never my right, always my left. And you know, you could sit there and say, oh, heart attack, this, that, and the other. And sometimes it runs up here. Interesting. It's a very weird sensation anyway. And you could say that it's to do with the nerve and different things like that. I think it could be. However, it's linked, for me, it's linked to antiperspirant deodorant. There are many other brands, male, female, all the rest of it. I'm not on about that. What I'm on about is the 48-hour antiperspirant deodorant that you are sealing off. And again, this is causing nerve damage in certain people. Same way that if you take sweets and you're a kid, some kids get hyperactive and it causes, disobedience, I suppose, in some aspects. And in other children, it affects them not the same way, but it's still affecting them in a different aspect. So the worst thing in the world you want to do is block your body from sweating. It is one of the most natural things. And again, this sweat that you are going to produce, it doesn't turn off your sweating response, it blocks it. Which then, it's like saying, why don't we block a spit gland? Has anyone ever had a blocked spit gland before? The pain is incredible. Due to infection or whatever else it may be. For me, once it was a toothbrush bristle came off and managed to get into oh, man, that was some pain. I had to pull it out. I could feel it. What the hell is that? And then I pulled it and out it came and out come the saliva. It was a hell of an experience. And it causes all of that pain, right? So that's a blocked spit gland. But now you're using things to block your sweat glands. So if you do suffer with nerve issues, and usually it's on one particular side of your body, and this is why it makes it seem like you'll find it very difficult to pinpoint it. So if I go to a doctor, they're going to probably x-ray and say, oh yeah, you might have some pinched nerve or whatever else. And if I touch you there, it could be shingles, it could be this. The problem is, the doctor would understand what it was if you gave them correct information, which would be, oh, it's hurting on both sides. Problem is, it doesn't work that way. It works on one side more favorably, and it doesn't work with both sides. If you do have a problem with nerves, I wonder if you're using antiperspirant deodorant and you have a overproductive sweat gland on one side, or both, stop using it. See if this works. Just try it out. Continue doing anything else at the medical, whether you're doing physio and anything else. Continue with that, it helps. But look at your antiperspirant. Are you putting this under your arms? If you are, stop. Stop immediately and go over to something else that allows you to sweat, but deals with the smell. Okay? There's one thing I found very bizarre, like when going to a gym, I noticed people putting on this whole antiperspirant because they didn't want to sweat. Or they're going to go out and do some football or play rugby and they're spraying this. I'm like, why are you doing that? Well, I don't want to sweat. Let me get this straight. You don't want to sweat, but you're going to go and run around in order to trigger the sweat response off. Do you know how many impurities are released when you sweat?
Yeah.
It's another way of purifying your body. It's leaking this impurities, and now you want to go and block off all of these things. You're now filling up with sweat. It's you're going to get some swelling. I got some sensitivity under my armpit. Now, I've done some things because I did use some antiperspirant, not this stuff, but still, I used some antiperspirant deodorant. And then all of a sudden, I start getting this pain again, and then I'm like, aha. Last time I suspected it was the antiperspirant, and I just stopped using it. And I was using a hot compress underneath the armpit. And then all of a sudden it started to release an awful lot of sweat. And then bit by bit it disappeared. So interesting, isn't it? Very interesting.
Yeah,
anyway, let's see. So again, I used it because, I thought, I'm about to go for a walk and I'm probably going to end up sweating. And I do fill my clothing up with water.
Yeah.
With sweat, basically, when I do anything, and I often get cold sweats, which is quite. And I also, you've seen it when it starts dripping down my elbow like tears.
Yeah.
And you think that that's a problem to the world, man. That how's it going to look? Honestly, nowadays I don't give a shit how it looks. It's one of the most naturalist things, and yet we can all be gaslit into it being so. It's like. Go with the flow. If you're going to do exercise, don't be putting antiperspirant on because, shower afterwards.
Yeah.
Go there. You need to get sweaty. You're releasing impurities.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing. And now actually I can start to feel this is starting to unblock. And bit by bit that it is, I can feel the nerve pain starting to subside. So it started to build up. I only used it once. One time spray and, I'm really feeling it. And I can feel it underneath my arm too. It's very sensitive underneath my arm. But I can feel it down here. Now, when I asked you to press in that area and you rubbed down there, it made a twanging sensation, which then I've gone numb from my finger down under my arm. I can feel it, but it's numb. And now it's just a pressure inside here, which is a shooting pain. So it's in my neck. I'm going to relate this to deodorant. So I'm going to relate that to, and I think that it's very bad. And to think that some people can wear it and not have a problem, I think you are. I think you still are having a problem. Because to be honest, for me, when I put this stuff on, it makes me feel like shit. Why? Because my body wants to purify. We often label it down that it's the body's way to make us feel cooler and all the rest of it. No, I think that's bollocks. It wouldn't be salty if that was the case. Again, you would think about it. It's releasing impurity. Look at the colour that it can stain your fabrics afterwards. When you take it off and throw it in a wash basket, and if you're doing your washing once a week, whatever it may be, and then you go to pick up that garment, look at all the staining on there.
It's yellowish, isn't
it? It is. It's releasing impurities out of your body. What was it my grandfather used to say? That they used to use a pH balancer. Whip a bit of vinegar under there, or the old sayings that come, and some sort of nice smell. You want to make that smell nice. That's all, because it's the smell that we've come a long way as humans in certain ways that we now make out that this is a problem. Did you know that smell used to be attractive to hunter-gatherers? It was your own body smell. Female would smell, I like that, and some female, no, I don't like that. It was an attraction. One of the most natural things ever. Could you imagine that? If you pick up a bird and you're like, cool, I like the smell of them, when you hold your bird or whatever else. And if you pick up your pet, that smell to them, if this was humans, you would be spraying it away, calling it all abnormal. And it's amazing how how you can believe something and you keep telling yourself that is a bad smell because society expects you to say that that's a bad smell. Tribes don't have this issue. In fact, they don't even realize. It becomes part and parcel of what being human is all about. You are generating your own scent. And in some ways, we were probably rubbing our arms up on trees. Yeah, and if anyone come across... Oh, okay, there's someone here. It's not just urine that we can smell, it's also our bodies, but anyway, for me personally, it's a nerve issue, I'm going to say. And I think it's due to the blocked sweat gland that's pressing against the nerve. And gee me, I can fill up with a lot of sweat anyway and release an awful lot. Change my t-shirts quite a lot. And I think that's pressing against the nerve, which mimics trapped nerve. And the more and more pressure that's building up, then the body's having a response to this, which is then causing more pressure, which is then hitting on the nerve. Again, toothache, pressure building up in the tooth, in bacteria, foreign body, having an object and having a blocked spit gland. It is incredibly painful, but you are blocking your sweat gland from being able to release. That is not 100% a good thing to be doing. I think what you need is a good deodorant, and that's where companies, I think, take it too far. And again, it's let's put an increased amount of pressure on you stink. Let's look at the way that that is underneath your arm. And then we're supposed to look at that as, God, I can smell them from here. Well, they don't actually smell because they are releasing a chemical, and they've put a chemical on, although not great, but they're allowing themselves to sweat, but causing it to have a chemical reaction that then makes it smell nice, as opposed to unpleasant. But it's a great gimmick, isn't it? Moneymaker, that if you can, shame it, be brought up with a belief that that's a bad smell, and tribes, they don't really notice the difference. They don't really notice. So, I don't know, if anyone's got a nerve issue, especially on their arm, I would say I would be thinking about your type of deodorant you're using. And if you are using antiperspirant, it's going to take a few days for you to try and wash that off. It's not as simple as just washing it off. It doesn't just wash off. It's designed to keep you dry, and when you're adding water to it, it is very difficult to get rid of it. So I've utilized a different solution to use. It caught me off guard. I was in a rush, basically, and I thought, I don't really like using the deodorant at the best of times anyway, because of this reason. It's very sensitive areas as your armpits, and sometimes it's really good to have impurity, especially if you're going to be doing something that causes exercise. Why do you want to block that away? This is the weirdest thing. You might as well just not move. You might as well just stand still. You might as well just not do any exercise. I like doing exercise to feel good. The reason why you're feeling good is because your body's pushing out more impurities. We often think that it's due to the blood level, and it's due to this, and it's due to the way the body operates during exercise. No. Yes, those things help, don't get me wrong. But actually, elevated temperature causes elevated release of sweat. Your body is making good of that. Well, I've got to release this liquid. Anything else I can throw in there anyway? It's basically, you want to think of it like you taking a rubbish in a bin out and thinking, I've got a few bits of rubbish around the house, maybe. Oh, yeah, that's done. Oh, I don't need this package in here. These can come out of the packaging. Oh, yeah, that. You might as well make use of it, right? And then chuck it away. That's what your body does. Your body makes use of this elevated heat. I can also throw some things in there. Release this chemical in the bloodstream. Great for the brain. Oh, I can do this. Oh, I can... It doesn't waste that. It doesn't just go, You feel much more better. Why? Because your body has released impurities, toxins, out. And you want to block it? It's like you covering your fucking adrenal gland. Might as well block that off. Well, might as well block my spit glands. Well, fuck me, might as well do the lymph nodes whilst I'm there as well. Might as well do all the glands. Your body is a base of glands. Different glands. Shall we just keep blocking the glands, shall we? Shall we block the tear ducts in our eyes, shall we? So what happens if you block your tear ducts in your eye? Is that a good thing, or is that going to end up being quite a bad thing?
Bad thing.
Bad?
Right.
But you want to block the glands in your arm? Oh my God, look at those tears, said the corporations. Oh, look at those tears. Oh, did you know that? It's just disgusting seeing how shiny your eyes are. Have you ever tried this solution here? You can buy it. Come on. We'll do something about those tear glands. Come on, let's block them. And this can run away to cause a problem. So I'm going to label this pinched nerve, if we're going to call it that. And it's definitely around here as well, and it runs this way. It feels like it's underneath my nipple. It feels on skin level. It's not deep. It's on the skin level. Now, whatever the swelling triggers, because I'm not sure if the nerves get aggravated and then they start to swell because they think that something is there, infection, whatever else, so they do what they do best. Time to try and move this away from the organs. I think that's what swelling is all about. And the swelling moves it away from the internal organs. Is what happens. Also with skin as well. Better remove these out the way just to be on the safe side. But when does that swelling become too much? Now let's factor in you're filling up with moisture or sweats in that area. You haven't stopped sweating. It's now, and again, the body is reacting to this. Then this puts pressure on other areas. It isn't exactly a perfect science now, is it? So if you do have pinched nerves, continue with your physio. Continue with whatever your doctor's told you to do. Absolutely, because it fucking helps. But I bet you're using antiperspirant deodorant. Stop. Go over to something else. Get something that allows you to smell nice as you sweat. And, perhaps you'll have to change your t-shirt a couple of times a day. But the long term, I bet your nerve pain goes away. And that inconvenience as opposed to this inconvenience, because let's be realistic, you're going to have to walk around with a freaking stiff neck. Your arm is going to be quite a bit sensitive. Underneath there is going to be that sort of burning sensation at the same time. I don't think that's a good idea. And then it causes you to panic because you feel your heart knocking on something. So if I lay one way, I can feel my heart knocking. That's how bad it got the last time. And this time it didn't quite get there, but it riz up. And then I was like, oh yeah, I did use that. I did say I wasn't going to use that anymore. And then I started to deal with that. And then it hasn't got to that stage yet. And it's starting to subside. So tomorrow I should be shot of it. Hopefully. And then if so, it's because now I can feel moist under my arm at the moment, but it's still not free. My word, doesn't that antiperspirant stuff get pretty deep into your arm? So a couple more bathes in that, and I should be free of that. And then I'll expect it to release a lot of sweat in that first moment, and then go from there. So, and it becomes difficult to breathe. Yeah, that's another thing. One side of my lung is incredibly difficult to breathe because of the pain. So I guess I'm lucky in that way. I can breathe on the opposite side. That's weird, right? I can either choose to breathe from the bottom part of my lungs or the top part of my lungs, or both. Or I can choose one lung versus the other lung. And again, top or bottom. And I'm lucky because it's my right lung. You can live on your right lung, your left lung. Well, you can still live on it, but it's got to work harder. So, and today I can get a bit more in without that sensation. I just got it around the nipple area, underneath my nipple, and around. It's around the side, and it runs back to my spine, so I can trace that, and also down the arm. So it's aggravated a few nerves in that area. And then I was thinking all the way back to I went to go see a doctor once, which I did. I was in Lincoln Avenue at that time. Loved that Lincoln Avenue. It's a brilliant name. And I saw a doctor, and I had some swelling on the outside of my arm here. This bit was all swollen, and he rubbed me, and Christ, I felt that fucking hurt. And he said, you got some nerve issues there. Well, I did have this swelling angioedema attack, and it was quite in these areas anyway, across the face, hands, arm, and also feet, and also ankles. The rest of me, not so much. And I got stretch marks from it, which makes you have silvery skin, which is quite nice, actually. I don't mind it. Each one of those marks tell a story that you existed at this moment and this happened to your body. It just sort of stores it for you. But this particular time when I was there, I wasn't using antiperspirant back then when I had that massive attack. No. This was when I was a few, again, feeling, oh shit, do I? Am I? I don't know, maybe. Cool, what will people think? Because society's told us that we've got to do this weird behaviour and call it normal, when actually it's quite fucking abnormal as far as I'm concerned. And then I saw a doctor, and he said that he believed I was going to have shingles. But I was sitting there thinking, I already had chickenpox. So it's very unlikely that I'm going to have shingles. But again, I and then we were saying about the swelling that I had from the anaphylaxis, if you call it that. It was delayed. It was a long time delayed. Anyway, I had some swelling in that area, and he believed that the muscles, when they come back down, or the swelling came back down, they've pinched a few or trapped a few nerves in the area, which makes sense. But his next diagnosis was, well, I reckon you're going to get a rash, which I didn't get a rash. No, I was wearing antiperspirant. Excuse me a second. Sorry, I was eating chocolate and nut. I think it's got a little bit of a husk on that one. So yeah, I think it's related to that, personally. So I definitely got more movement today. I'm less numb in the fingers. It's still quite numb here. I can feel it. I cut my thumb in half, and they put that back together. And when they did, at the side of it, I can feel it, but I can't feel it as much. It's less sensitive, I would say, when I had my thumb fixed in that way.
Yeah.
It feels like that. Like it's slightly numb, but not as sensitive as it usually is. So it's less sensitive. Yeah, that's what it feels like. So I can still feel, but it's less sensitive. And I honestly believe, because, I forgot I used some antiperspirant deodorant because I was in a rush out. I'm going to be doing some walking. I'm going to probably generate a stench, as we all do, quite naturally, really, and it's the most natural thing ever. So, yeah, and I'm just passing it on, because if anyone else has this, I know what it feels like. It is excruciating pain. I'm not going to sugarcoat that until you get the numbing sensation, which feels pretty fucking good. I'm not going to lie. It's still there, but it just sort of pinches. So, yeah, pretty unpleasant, but antiperspirant. And there, if it's doing that to me, what's it doing to other people? What's it doing to people that are not getting that response to it? And then, am I the defect in that situation? That you're abnormal, you are. What? Because I can't handle putting deodorant underneath my arm. In a very abnormal sort of circumstance here, but I'm abnormal because it's a me problem. But no, this must be doing something to you. And then I wonder, and I would ask a question, anyone that uses this antiperspirant and then go and do some sort of contact sport or exercise versus someone that opts not to use it, which one has the runner's high at the end of it?
Yeah.
Which one feels more better and which one sort of feels a bit meh? Or you could be doing weightlifting, which I knew some people were doing weightlifting. I had all of this stuff because they didn't want to sweat, and I was just like, this is bizarre. I don't know. You are going to be doing exercise, but you don't want to sweat. Which is kind of weird. And then afterwards they'll be like, cool, I think I might have overdid it. Did you overdo it, or is it a blocked spit gland? Sweat gland, sorry. I got spit because I had a blocked spit gland, and now I'm confusing it all. But yeah, sweat gland. Yeah. And is it that? Is it that you're... Cool. I feel a bit tender here. Or you go and see a doctor and be like, I think I'm having a heart attack. Which you could be, by the way. Don't mistake that symptom. It could be an early warning sign of something else. But I don't know. And then it poses me another question. If it's doing that to the nerves there, what happens if it suppresses the nerve to the heart? Could that mimic heart attack, heart failure? If your arm is relying on nerves, nerve endings and different things like that, then what does your heart rely on? Is it also relying on nerves? Can it also then start to hurt when it beats because of something else you've done under the arms? And without this investigation, and then, you never know, we could have been fucking triggering heart failure or mimicking it, but based on something that we're putting under our arms. So yes, it seems like a great product. Has it been tested? Is it really been tested? Then is it tested in this way that some children might find, have instability or behavior issues if they take this tablet or if they take these sweets? Some children might. And then some people might have a nerve problem if they wear this stuff. But is it some, or is the nerve going somewhere else, or is it affecting something else, your overall... And then that becomes a really big question. And again, the scientists that might be bought by the company to come out and say, no, it's just certain sensitivity. That would then be a little bit. Are you the same ones that believe this one society shoe fits all? You know, they will one everything. One. Just one. Pick one. But yet, then when we have people responding differently to a product, they then say it's those people. But that then means two groups, doesn't it? So, yeah, I'm not sure about that. And then what's the prolonged exposure to that? And then if it's doing that under your arms, what happens if you spray that and you're breathing that in? What else is it going to block in your respiratory system? You know, because if it's one way is a doorway here, then what else is it doing if you breathe that? I mean, this stuff kills fungus. I mean, that's impressive, isn't it? You can use this to kill fungus. And again, is this a product that we should be putting under our arms, or is it a product that we should be putting over our windows because we don't want condensation? Right? And then if it works for that, should we really be using it on our skin? Under our arms, blocking off glands and some people I know put this on their freaking feet. Again, very dangerous. Your body is releasing toxins out your feet as well. That sounds like a stupid thing, but it definitely is. But again, you want to prevent that. It's and then if we breathe it. So I do believe that there was this one report that this kid sprayed deodorant like this all over themselves, and it actually ended up causing them to die because they couldn't sweat. So again, that is not a very good indication. So that's why it's very important that we don't have this chemical-based lifestyle that we live, because we don't know what the hell that is doing. And if it's affecting a few of us, is it affecting all of us? But we're just unaware of it for some reason. Some people have a bit more of a nerve response than others. And then perhaps your body doesn't react to it. Doesn't mean that it isn't toxic. It just means that your body is, for whatever reason, is not reacting to it. And our sensitivity, people who are sensitive, a window into how all humans are, but just theirs are releasing that response. But if we just dumb it off that it's just these people, then what is that prolonged usage for people that aren't reacting? The same again with certain baby wipes and stuff that say extra sensitive. You got that freaking right.
Yeah.
You know, but my kids used to react to baby wipes, which then you would say that it was the nappy, or some people would call it nappy rash, but I know it wasn't nappy rash because I was changing their... as soon as they had, filled the nappy or whatever else, I was changing it. I was going through more nappies than you've probably ever seen. So I was really hot on that. And then what I noticed was when I took the baby wipe and I rubbed their arm with it, my word, did I get a reaction that can't be related to nappy rash now. This because you don't get nappy rash on the arm. And then I figured out that it was baby wipes, and then I started using these, after taking a crap, and might as well, because then the only way I'm really going to know is if I use it. And then it started to irritate me, and then I was like, well, this ain't nappy rash, that's for sure it ain't nappy rash, I ain't wearing a nappy. I was just using this product, and then I went over to different products until I found some that didn't cause a reaction, and then when using these on my kids, I noticed that my kids' reactions stopped. And then it was like, aha. All right then. Or if they get really grizzly and start pulling the ears and everything else, everyone around me was saying that they were teething. They actually weren't. They had indigestion, reflux. When I gave them some jarred food, what mimicked teething actually wasn't. It was indigestion and reflux. And again, if it gets to that stage where your little one vomits, not all vomit is containing stomach acid. That's a misnomer. Everyone thinks that it does. No. If you've got acid reflux, and most people associate this when they've been drinking alcohol, but it's wheat in that, or hops, that's causing reflux. That will cause you to have a reaction to your stomach acid will react. So therefore you will vomit stomach acid and it will hurt and it's very unpleasant. But generally, by and large, not all food causes this, where it hasn't for me. I've noticed that some are more, yes, and some are not. And if you can smell that reflux in there, you can, when a little vomits and stuff, and you can then understand that that food is causing a issue, reflux. Then when I stop that type of food, it then gives me another doorway into their body, because they can't talk. They're relying on you to work this out.
Yeah.
And if you're able to work this out, they become quite happy little kids, right? Which is great for you, and it's great for everyone else around, because they're crying. And sometimes I notice with certain parents, they felt quite helpless in that moment. Like, it irritated them, but they didn't want it to irritate them. But again, deep down, it was stressing them out. My greatest bit of advice from, I was bringing up my little ones, from an advice from that to another mum, try switching up the food if it is. Try doing it yourself, making it yourself. And if the child is less grizzly, remember, it's not about you. It's about them in that. They're hurting, but they can't tell you it because, they're relying on you to know this stuff. And usually it falls down to wheaty foods or certain jars of food that you buy for convenience or whatever else. And if you eat one of those, get one for your kid and one for yourself. Eat it. If the chances are, if it causes some reflux in you, it's definitely doing it in them. Apple never falls further than the tree. And some of and my other little one, no problem with it. So again, happy. Not so grizzly. Other one, very grizzly. Why is that? Oh. Here, Mum, try that. Man, I ain't got a problem with it. I have. All right, well, let's assume that it is this doing it. Shall we switch it over for this and see if that stops? And it did. And then as it stops, then that makes all round, you got happy kids, apostrophe S in that situation. You are less stressed. They're more happy. You're more happy. Everyone says that your kids feed off of you, your emotion around your children, and they pick up on it. Did you know that is actually a two-way street? Did you know that? It's a two-way street, that is. If your kids are happy, you're happy. Why? Because if you're less stressed and they're less stressing out, then you are too. That works both ways. That's a two-way street. You want them to be, happy. And then some people are very quick. I've watched this with other parents. I didn't really realize it until, I was bringing up little and single-handedly on my own. And then you start to understand what parents or single mums were experiencing, right? And it's amazing that the brain quickly defaults. Maybe it's me. It's just not you. But I've noticed this behavior before, and I wondered what that was. Maybe it's because they get into a very negative mindset, and no, it's not that they hate you. They love you. They love you to pieces. It's the fact that if you are feeding them and it begins to hurt them, they're associating you feeding them with that food that makes me feel ouch, reflux or acid, or every time I go. And then there's another one. I noticed this with individuals around, and it didn't dawn on me until I had my own children. Then I worked it out. That every time they go to put them into bed, they'll go to sleep and then they'll wake up roaring the house down. And again, they're pulling. I think they're teething. I think that oh no, what if it's this, and they start really then. And then Littlin is so tired because they won't lay down or won't go to sleep. Mum's getting stressed because she's not sleeping, and now Littlin's not sleeping, and then they're labeling on all of these weird and wonderful things. Oh man, that's a very much a weird cycle to get into. That is, and it's not good because morale for each it isn't great. I think best rule of thumb is elimination. You've got to eliminate the certain types of behavior that you do. And then if Littlin's like, no, why is that? And then some other stuff, give it to me, I love this stuff, And when you switch over to this sort of thing, you're before you know it, it's gone. The whole situation has disappeared, and you've never looked back at it, it's taken off and gone. And then when you see it with someone else, it's like, I wonder, is it this food that you're eating? And for my niece, it was a certain type of crisps when she got to a certain age. She still couldn't talk very much, but limited, finding the voices, and she would respond. And what it would do is, of course, her to get not angry, but irritable. The little one would get very irritable. Why? Because she's not sleeping. Reason why she's not sleeping is because every time I lay down in her own mind, something hurts. The acid hurts. Now pull at the ears, and the ears get red, and then you mistake it as a parent as teething, but it's not teething, it's reflux. And you got to be quite hot on that. And certain formula milk causes it as well. Did you know that? So, especially with Litland, she just kept responding in a way that weren't good. So I moved her up onto this other milk that was reflux and regurgitation, something like that. It was along those lines. So I just went and got some of this. And it subsided, but she was already to see the pediatrician, but she wasn't going to see the pediatrician until like fucking weeks in advance. They were so chock-a-block, right? That you couldn't get your appointment until X amount of weeks later, you know, you have to come through the post, you know, the processes. It's quite the thing. But in that meantime, I'd already switched the milk. I was just looking at all of the milks, finding it. I think this is something to do with acid. And lo and behold, when I found one that worked for this, I guess, in a way, and then when she went from milk, formula milk, to... And I noticed it, if she was... if mum would let her breastfeed, yes, she didn't have these responses. She was actually a different kid because she was sleeping, so she was less irritable. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
I switched over the milk because mum found it uncomfortable, and I can imagine that probably is quite an uncomfortable thing. But she persevered with it 9 times out of 10. And anyway, so as time went on, I switched the milk. And the pediatrician had said when mum had took Litland to see the pediatrician, it was Dad's already done what I would recommend. So, you know, you just got to be able to think about that. My rule of thumb for kids is reflux. Always reflux. The stomach acid, the burning acid, the acid. And trapped wind. You know how it is when you get trapped wind, or oh my god, what the hell is that? You know, you think about that on a little volume on a kid. You know, it's brutal, isn't it? You could think about that, and especially the reflux acid. It gets in the ears. It's mainly the ears. If they're pulling on the ears, that's where I'd go. I'd start looking at the food. I'd start looking at this, and then we are all cranky when we don't have a good night's sleep. That's one thing. We are all. So if we spent most of the night staying up because of a cold, blocked nose and everything else, we become more grouchy. What happens if we spend most of the night staying up throwing up? We're more grouchy. Why? Because we've had lack of sleep. Lack of sleep means more prolonged, plus you're pissed off and you're short-tempered. Now imagine that intermittently every other night, that pattern. What do you think the outcome's going to be? Everyone's at their wit's end. So... And again, it makes that nice experience, and it can, you know, you've got to shift. So that's why I look at these things. And now with this one here, with this stuff, I think it's antiperspirant that causes nerve pain. So if anyone is suffering with nerve pain, just try that. Maybe go with not having it for a bit. If you're around your own home anyway, coping with that, you only got to smell yourself at the best of times anyway. Or try something that pHs you, that makes a nice smell but lets you sweat. And then see if after 3-4 days, and you're going to have to wash the area quite well, unfortunately, because that stuff gets quite deep in. It's that I've noticed. And just see if bit by bit, after a few days of that, that you know, you'll look back on it and think, you'll forget. That's what you want, really, isn't it? It starts to take off, that you had all of this nerve problem, and then all of a sudden disappears and never comes back. And then you'll forget that you did all of that because life got to normal again. And, you know, you'll be sleeping better and less cranky and less grouchy and all round a nicer human, I would say, in that situation. So, yeah, give it a go. And at the end of the day, you, the person, has to be the one about your safety. Don't rely on anything else to do it, because as we've seen time and time again throughout our culture, that they'll pay people to say that it's the best thing ever. They'll pay people to say anything, right? Money always has this ability to manipulate the mindset of anyone else, because I might lose a product, as opposed to utilizing that money to go, can we make something better? Can we make something that is natural, that doesn't contain all of these chemicals that... Frickin' hell, God knows what's going to happen to your body on that chemicals, because how long have they been around for? It's all artificial. You know, and you have to be responsible for that. Like, you are responsible for your PPE, your personal personal protective equipment, but you are responsible for your personal protection on your body.
Yeah.
And what goes into it, and sure, certain things you may smoke or do this, that, and the other, that's it's your situation to do so. It would be great if you could invent a healthy cigarette.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
After all, certain chemicals are quite natural, a bit like caffeine as well. It's quite a natural thing. But you got to be responsible for your health, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Don't rely on anybody else to do it. Mm-hmm. And that's why I've always learned to question and challenge these things, because the times that we don't and we get complacent, that's when we get the most manipulated. Have you ever noticed that?
Mm-hmm.
That these products then are not great for our health. And then is this company, if they know that this happens, could they be in a new type of drug that helps numb nerves? And then it's like this product followed by you need this product followed by... It's a lot of money, isn't it? And that's where it becomes a horrible thing that corporations, not all... What is the objective? Make more money.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's... Not all of them. Some give the rest a bad name, and some really are trying to be good for everyone, but not everyone has that same mindset. To call them all the same is an understatement, to be honest. That's a horrible thing to do. They're not all the same. No, some actually have your health in high regard, but again, we do see that these companies might buy herbal companies and make it so expensive so you go back over to the other. So again, it's about having a competitive pricing.
Mm-hmm.
But if we all moved over to it, would it become cheaper? That's the question. And again, why is it the same equivalent to two of these added together? And now one of these is now more expensive. And that's how we give natural stuff a bad name, really, isn't it? Have you ever noticed that? That's when we start to then give a natural thing a bad name, because it then becomes even more expensive because no one else is doing it, let's say. Well, I suppose it's got to start somewhere. Unless that's going to increase by £25 per year, Yeah, best way, here comes April, fucking right. It's ridiculous. If it's always gone up, when will it ever go down? And does it ever need to go up, really? Really? Probably not.
No.
What is the ground doing? Charging more money? What are all those chemicals doing? Did they suddenly get expensive, did they? I don't believe any of that, but, Yeah, so we can do something very mundane and very normalized in society and never think that it could have a collapsing card deck effect. And again, that is not good. And while wearing antiperspirant, did you know that it actually makes your sweat smell worse?
Oh.
Because you're stopping it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you think that stuff's going to smell great the longer it's stored up? What happens if you put sweat in a jar somewhere and leave it for a few days?
Probably.
And then go and give it a whiff.
Ew.
Oh, it's going to smell bad, right? It's going to be worse. And then you're going to give it some heat and everything else, and just add a little bit more in there while we're there.
Yeah.
And then what? Is it going to be sending an immune response to it in your body?
Mm.
That stuff don't smell nice, by the way. So interesting, very interesting. And then if you're breathing that in and you're breathing that into your lungs, what is that doing? That cannot be good. You're trying to dry out the very thing that likes moist.
But it doesn't work, does it?
Yeah, I don't know about that. Dry mouth, anyone?
Ooh.
Well, think about it. When you can smell this stuff, you are smelling particles. And if it's getting beyond that point and it's also landing on the back of your tongue, well, is that then getting into your porous teeth? And then what? That's drying out your teeth from the inside then, by that logic. And if it is it causing tooth decay? Yeah, think about it, right? And then maybe you take a breath in, like that, through the mouth. What if you just... I'm sure this stuff has a runaway effect. And again, if we weren't testing it, how do you know?
Yeah.
What you're saying is full of shit. You just hate corporations. I actually don't. I'm fascinated in science and figuring out whether this stuff does have a knock-on effect. And then if that's getting in under your arm and assuming that it gets deep enough and your body tries to maneuver this toxin out, is it getting in your bones? Is it getting in your bloodstream if you breathe it in? Constantly, every day, putting on antiperspirant. after you get out of a shower in all of that hot, moist air, and you're breathing that in, does it get around your bloodstream? Does that then get into your bones? Does it go back to your marrow somewhere, does it? Yeah. What does that look like in bones to have a drying out effect? When your bones rely on moisture, they become very brittle when they get dry. When you're breathing in this dryness with these chemicals, it doesn't just stop on your arm. It's all over your face and everywhere else and on your eyes. Then you might need watered eye drops as well. Again, are you using antiperspirant? Are you religious with it, are you? Might not be causing you a problem there, but now it might be doing it here and perhaps in here and maybe in your teeth. And are you spraying it in your bathroom? Are your toothbrushes uncased, are they? Are those little droplets getting on your toothbrush? Yeah, brush that in your teeth as well. Oh man, this just runs away and runs away, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, it does.
So chemicals, antiperspirant, different stuff like that in toilets, bringing up all that sewer stuff as well. That mustard gas effect. It doesn't just affect you, it affects the environment, it affects your living quarters, it affects your teeth, your overall health, and therefore there needs to be more data done. So yeah, I'm going to go with that. So if you do have a nerve pain, you'll understand what I'm on about. If you actually stop using this and it disappears, well done you, because you've just freed yourself from a lot of misery really in that. And pain.
Yeah.
And what's more, who knows how it will look for you going forwards, and maybe a better thing. I used to use this stuff to get rid of mold. Yeah. It was actually quite well at keeping the mold from ever coming back because it relies on moisture, right? Yeah. That's honestly what I thought it was, mold repellent. But yeah, I don't know about that. Have you got a problem with wet armpits? No, but I have got a problem with wet skirting board. Do you get what I mean? You can dry it out, you know? Have you got damp in your home? We're an antiperspirant company. Making dry houses is what we do. Anyway, still, let's leave that one there. Because that's where I'm going to leave that, yeah?
Okay.